Hi guys, so in this video we'll be covering the last few bacterial disease epidemiology. So the disease we'll be covering will be your rickettsial zoonosis, trachoma, tetanus and finally leprosy. So we'll start with the rickettsial zoonosis. So you need to know the different types of diseases which come under this category. So they can be classified as typhus, spotted fever and others. So your different types of typhus are your epidemic typhus, your murine typhus and your scrub typhus. Of this, scrub typhus is very prevalent in India and it's due to species Rickettsia susugamushi. So this is very important point over here. So this typhus is usually due to fleas or mites which are present on rodents. So that is all about typhus. And then about spotted fever, uh, there are three important types of spotted fever. One is Indian tick typhus, and then Rocky Mountain fever, and rickettsial pox. Of these three, the Indian tick typhus is most important, and it's caused by Rickettsia conuri. So this is due to a tick which is present in rodents or present in dogs, not rodents, present in dogs. So the other rickettsial zoonosis are your Q fever and your trench fever. So your Q fever is due to Coxiella burnetii and your trench fever is due to Rockalimia quintana. So there are just two important points about Q fever. It is due to inhalation of the infected soil dust and consumption of in, infected food. So those two are the modes of transmission for Q fever. Otherwise, it's either going to be a tick, flea, or mite present in a rodent or dogs. So other important points for rickettsia are the the characteristic stain used is Jameson stain for visualization. Then you can do immunofluorescent antibody studies, and this wheel Felix reaction helps us distinguish the type of rickettsia present. Then you can do ELISA to detect rickettsia, and finally the treatment is via antibiotics, where the drug of choice is tetracycline. Moving on to trachoma. So trachoma, in this thing we are talking only about the eye disease, and chlamydia is also STD. We'll cover that in different video. So chlamydia trachomatis causes infection of the conjunctiva and cornea. So diagnosis is by these four clinical features. So follicles on the upper tarsal conjunctiva, limbal follicles on their sequelae, conjunctival scarring and vascular pannus present in the cornea. So all these are classical features of trachoma of cornea. So this is the most common preventable cause of blindness in the world. So the agent factor, there are three types of chlamydia which cause this, which are ABC primarily, and due to DEFGHIJK which cause sexually transmitted disease. This corneal or eye trachoma is rather rare. So due to trachoma, there may be suitable growth for bacteria like Diplobacillus. That's an important point over there. Reservoirs affected children. So mode of transmission is via this ocular discharge exposure. The host factors is 2 to 5 years old children are mostly affected, and it's equal in both females and males. But when it comes to older people, females are more affected than males. So environment factor, if there's an increased rainfall or poor socio-economic quality of life, then it's going to promote the growth of this bacteria. So finally, prevention and control. So you need to first assess the problem, and then chemotherapy is again tetracycline is the drug of choice, or you can use erythromycin or rifampin. And the two modalities of treatment will be mass treatment or selective treatment. So mass treatment will be like a prophylaxis, and selective treatment is where you identify the person with the disease and you give them the antibiotics. Finally, you can do surgical correction, which is keratoplasty, then surveillance and evaluation of the how effectively it's being managed. So that is all about trachoma. Then moving on to tetanus. So tetanus, there are two aspects to this. So in SPM, we'll talk mostly about this maternal and neonatal tetanus. It is also common in due to road traffic accidents and you get exposed to tetanus. There are cases like that also, but we'll talk more about maternal and neonatal tetanus. So this is caused by a bacteria which is Clostridium tetani. So it produces exotoxin which causes muscular rigidity. We'll talk about this again in some time. So neonatal tetanus is the most uh, deadly disease, second killing disease in children or neonates. So neonatal and maternal tetanus prevention has four important points, which are clean delivery and umbilical cord care, delivery of tetanus vaccine to mother, the antenatal period, and then vaccination campaigns, strengthening of surveillance of tetanus presence in the society. So the various prevention measures in India, again, repetition of the previous points, but acceleration of vaccination, systematic vaccination, promotion of institutional deliveries, and then intensive communication programs and distribution of disposable delivery kits. So all of these points are covered in two programs. So that will be your national rural health mission and your Janani Suraksha Yojana. So we'll talk about these two programs in detail when we talk about the health programs and their objectives and what all schemes come under it. So the agent factors, it's a gram-negative anaerobic rod. It's a spore forming and can, so since it forms spores, it can resist harsh environments. I said it produces an exotoxin, right? It's known as tetanospasm. So it affects the motor end plate of skeletal muscles, spinal cords, brain, and sympathetic system. So its primary mode of action is it blocks the spinal reflexes. The host factors are it affects people of age between 5 to 40 years, higher incidence in males, and then agriculture workers are of higher risk. Environmental factors, so it's more common in rural setting than in a urban setting, and poor socioeconomic conditions increase the chances of getting this disease. So the mode of infection is through infected wounds, and incubation periods is 6 to 10 days. So the types of tetanus are five types. So they can be either traumatic, puerperal, otogenic, idiopathic, or tetanus neonatum based on the clinical symptoms. So the prevention is primarily via vaccine. So there are two types of vaccine: combined vaccine and monovalent vaccine. So your combined vaccine is your DPT, your diphtheria, pertussis, and tetanus, which is given at 6, 10, 4 weeks IM on the lateral aspect of the thigh, anterolateral aspect of the thigh. And the monovalent vaccine would be your tetanus toxoid, which is given in two doses with 1 or 2 months interval between them, and a booster dose which can be given after 1 year. So there are passive immunization options also available, which is your human tetanus hyperimmunoglobulin, and the treatment for tetanus infection would be using antibiotics, the drug of choice being penicillin. So moving on to the last most important disease, which is leprosy. So it's caused by Mycobacterium leprae. It's prevalent across the world, and it's also known as Hansen's disease. So the cardinal features for diagnosis of leprosy are hypopigmented patches, partial or total loss of cutaneous sensation, presence of thickened nerves, and presence of acid-fast bacilli in skin. So it's highly controlled disease in the world, and it has decreased by 90% due to the integrated management and multi-drug therapy of leprosy. So global leprosy strategy of 2016 to 2020 is what the world is trying to follow now. In India, it was widely prevalent, but after introduction of multi-drug therapy, it's decreased by 56%. So once again, leprosy, it's due to microbial leprosy, and there are two types. So paucibacillary leprosy and multibacillary leprosy. So paucibacillary shows no leprae bacilli, multibacillary shows leprae bacilli, and clinically they're classified into tuberculoid and lepromatous. So the difference between tuberculoid and lepromatous is given over here. So in tuberculoid, the lesions are few. In lepromatous, they are widely present. Tuberculoid, the wells are circumscribed. In lepromatous, they are present on the skin of forehead, cheeks, earlobes, loss of lateral eyebrows, and then these are all the most important features over there. So nerve involvement, the single nerve involvement and marked early damage in tuberculoid. Damage is slow but progressive in lepromatous. So those are all the things which you need to know. And these are other manifestations of leprosy: runny nose, dry scalp, eye problems, skin lesions, and then thickening of peripheral nerves, muscle weakness, and flat nose. So those are the examples. And then the complications of leprosy will be sensory loss, like I said before, permanent nerve damage, muscle weakness, disfigurement, and circulatory disturbances. So the drugs which we use for leprosy would be your dapsone is the most important drug. Other drugs given in as adjuncts are rifampicin, clofazimine, and that this is the drug regimen which you need to know. There are two types of drug regimens based on the age. So for adults, there's a different drug regimen. For children, there's a different drug regimen, and you need to do this to eradicate leprosy. And there is an important program called National Leprosy Control Program, which will be covered in detail while we talk about health programs. So that will cover the prevention and control aspects of leprosy. So with this, we'll be completing the all the bacterial diseases epidemiology, and we'll be moving on to viral diseases epidemiology in the next video. I hope you found this video really useful. Thank you.